just have to wait for it. All right, I think we are live. We just have to check again if YouTube it's working and LinkedIn. And we should start it. Perfect, perfect. Can you also hear there on YouTube? Is audio fine? Okay, so if it's also working there, then that's great. Okay, so I think we are ready then to start. So let me just share my screen. Okay, perfect. All right, so you should see my screen now. Perfect. Okay. So do you see my screen sharing or not yet? Okay, let's do it this way. Share screen. I'm going to do it like this. Perfect. Okay, so hi everyone. So today we are going to continue our weekly build. If last time we pretty much looked over how do you build an agent and how do you actually compose an agent in Versur, what we are going to do this time, we are going to go over like how do you actually create an agent that can actually deploy across like different kind of workflows that you can share also with others. So if you want to follow along, you'll have here the weekly build from the previous week. You have here choose compose an agent. That's what we worked on last time. So if you look at it, what we pretty much did is we just went through a very simple kind of example. You just have a simple kind of workflow where you use only one block of an agent, and then from there it's just a matter of how do you configure that. Yeah. So let's see if I just open it here to see exactly how we did it there. So we had this kind of idea of pretty much we have just one block and we can configure it, and we can configure kind of the level of intelligence that it's needed in a way. So you could have agents that are simply like, I'm just able to read a file, or you can say I have an agent that has memory, has access to the brain of the office, has access to multiple kind of tools, and it can engage in more kind of complex kind of processes. So this is what you have here. If you don't have this, you can go again on in the hub here, and then go to weekly build, and you're going to find that specific example there. So that's going to help you then just get familiar with how the Versur agent block works. Okay, so I showed you here like different kind of methods, like you can add tools to it, what kind of tools it has, skills that you can add, different kind of functionality. As you can see, like knowledge bases, web search, IFC manager if you want to engage with an IFC manager. So all those kind of parameters here in a way you can customize. And the same happens also like very often like when you work with this kind of methods, and especially when you work with language models, you always have this kind of issue of perhaps the first try in a way of the language model is not really the best. And this is something that also as humans we are always so engaging with that issue, because always we are kind of retrieving information from the past experiences, and then we try in a way to look at what we offered as a solution, and then we reevaluate, we improve, and so on. Yeah. So here you have then also like for an agent, you have this kind of mechanisms of you can make the agent kind of reflect on previous results in a way, and then propose like ways of how it's going to improve. So you see here we have a more complex kind of setup where you have quite a few kind of tools that the agent has access to. Now the list of tools that Versur provides for you is quite plenty, in the sense obviously you have like vision, you have thinking mode, storage, if you want to connect to your storage, if you want to work with an agent that is able to work with spreadsheets and so on, social media, Teams, MCP tools. So MCP, like there are certain MCPs that are already provided in Versur that you can connect to different kind of CAD softwares. But in case that you have a custom kind of server, MCP server, you can connect to it. Yeah. So you have all this kind of functionality that you can add, and these kind of tools that you can add to it. But in this case, as you can see, we have quite a few. And then here in the loop, we also had this kind of strategy of how you propose, the agent to evaluate, certain things. Yeah. So you're asking it like to solve a task, and then you allow it in a way to iterate over that task. Yeah. You give the parameters, the goals, and then let the agent kind of figure it out. Yeah. So that's what we are looking at. We are also looking at, you can also have this kind of blocks agents that are just very specialist, just one specific focus, just IFC. So I can upload an IFC file, export my B model as IFC, and then I can communicate with it or conversate with it. I can say, well, how many doors are with this FRI, and how many windows are, have this kind of fire rated kind of number. So you can, in a way, customize it like that. I know that some practices using Versur, they also looked at what if we have our own kind of custom transcripts, like transcript kind of agent, which for me is like, well, there are already services that are providing a transcript from meetings. But I think what's interesting is when you start to link, in a way, all these kind of processes together, not when you treat them as separate kind of discrete steps. Yeah. So schedules, if you have like Revit schedule. So we went over quite a bit, in a way, last time. Okay. So then when it comes to Versur, like you always have different kind of ways of creating agents. Yeah. So I'm going to create here an empty canvas for now. And if I press spacebar, you're going to see here, we have all this kind of like tools and blocks, that we can use and drop on the canvas. Yeah. So if I click on it, it's going to drop it here, the canvas. Now, what you have here, you see, you have agents. You have a category as agent. And what that category is, you have agents that are fully customizable. So you can like start from a block that pretty much is just a simple, plain kind of language model. And then from there, you can configure it into an actual agent without having to touch at all any kind of programming kind of language. So you have all these kind of building blocks that you can just attach, and you go from simply having a language model to having an agent that actually can perform tasks. Yeah. So you have all this kind of functionality there. Now you have also ways of creating agents by using this. If you scroll to the bottom, in your case, probably you're not going to see these ones, my agents. You're not going to see that, but you're going to see these design agents. Yeah. And these design agents, what these are predefined kind of agents that Versur comes with. So there are different kind of design, perhaps tasks or topics that are pre-configured then, and you can just drop them in the canvas. You just input the task, the files that you want to work with, and all the tools, all the loops, all the mechanisms, in a way, they're already running in the background. So in that way, you don't have to configure at all anything there. Yeah. So you have fully customizable, and you have this one predefined, in a way, agents. Okay. Now another way how to create agents, because the problem with these ones is that this one, for example, this agent, if I start to configure it in this canvas, I'm not going to be able to transfer it, in a way, to another canvas. So I cannot have it almost like an agent that it's in my library, and then from there I can, in a way, like keep on calling it. Yeah. So what you can do then, you can have another way of creating agents. And the way you create those agents, you go here into the Versur environment. And here you see you have all these kind of sections for different kind of roles. So you have like agents, you have skills, tools, manuals. So this is where, for example, you can create your own custom skills, custom tools, custom manuals. And here, when I'm talking about tools, when I'm saying tools, I'm talking about like, let's say that right now you're looking for a task to go through a massive kind of database of, like maybe Excel files or something. So how I'm going to parse, in a way, through all that without asking a language model to actually read all that information? How do I parse, perhaps with more deterministic kind of methods? So I can create then a tool that is using or is doing exactly that, just the parsing. And then from there, in a way, like you have the agent like just calling that tool. Yeah. So that's what that is here. You can create your own custom kind of tools, manuals. You can create your own manuals. I will say the difference between skills and manuals is that skills is almost like to say that, how do I use a certain tool? So you're just giving instructions in a way. And a manual is almost like you can think of them as design manuals. So I was giving last time this analogy with you're going to the hardware store, you're buying a tool. But just because you have the tool doesn't mean that you have the skill to know how to use that tool. So you need a skill in order to use the tool. And if you plan to sculpt in a way a log with that tool, you have to have now a sort of a manual of how to sculpt something, you know. So it's not just about like using the tool, but it's also how to generate something. So that's what design manuals are then, almost like to say that, you know, sort of like manual of how to design something. Okay, so you have all those. But here, if we go back to the agent, so here to the agent, then you can create this kind of agents that you can then have across your entire kind of workspaces. Yeah, so this will be like agents that you're building, and they are like connected to your account. Yeah, wherever you're opening this, whatever project, you're still going to have these agents. So the way you create them, you just go here to create agent. I'm just going to say, you know, weekly build agent one. Yeah. So I have that. So now here you see you always have in Versur, you have multiple kind of agents that you have agents that allow you to, or you have agent blocks that you can compose and you can create workflows with, or you have agents within the interface that allows you in a way to build things. Yeah. So you have an agent that allows you to build workflows. You have agents that allow you to build skills and tools and agents, and you have other kind of agents that allow you to build schemas and so on, yeah, like output schema and so on. So here, for example, we can say this is an agent for design exploration, let's say. So I'm just going to run this agent. And what this is going to do is going to start to create for me in a way like the right instructions, the right kind of methods that I need in a way for this kind of agent. And then once it's generating, you'll see you'll have here like all the instructions, which is the role of the agent, like what's the scope of it. And then we can see like perhaps, okay, so it was able to also like give like skills and tools. So you see here we have it defined the role because I just gave like a rough kind of description how you're the design exploration agent. So you're a design exploration agent, an architectural design partner that helps. So it just created in a way that kind of role of it. Yeah. Now, personally, I like to work with it like this because I don't want to like start writing everything from scratch. So I like to just ask the agent like, okay, create for me the structure. And then I can go in, I can proofread it. I can make sure that, you know, the instruction is correct. And it's really like the goal that I want to have with this. Then I can scroll to the bottom. So you see here, like we have it set as an acting kind of agent, meaning that you have this kind of two modes working with agents, explore agent versus act agent. So explore agent is going to mostly just do almost like research in the background, while act is going to like execute tools and run things and so on. Yeah. So in this case, we want to have it act. Here you have the option to select like, do you want to have a specific model that you want to run this on? Or if you scroll to the bottom, you see I'm going to talk about towards the end of this meeting about Versur Bridge. But you see here I have a local model as well. Yeah. So if I want to run this agent on local on my computer, then I'm going to be able to do that. But for now, I like to keep it on auto. And the reason I like to keep it on auto because Versur has kind of mode auto that allows you to, or it's rerouting correctly, like the task that you're asking it to complete for the task for the correct kind of model. And it's doing this not per run, but for every single turn in the agent. So for example, if you have an agent that has to go through 10 steps, auto is going to allow you to decide for each step which is the appropriate kind of model to use for that. Yeah. Because otherwise, if you have it like auto that is applied for the entire run, you might say that, you know, like you need at the beginning, like a model that is very, very strong, like let's say Fable. But then the second step, third step, maybe you just need a very, very cheap kind of model, you know. So if you don't have that option, then you're going to just burn through tokens and you're just going to it's going to cost you a lot, like, you know, one run like that. But if you have auto on, it's going to switch in a way the models for each step. So in this way, in a way, you have like a more token kind of efficiency there. Now you see here, like it also attached in a way certain skills that they're already like embedded in Versur. If you click here, you'll see you have different kind of skills that are already coming with Versur. But at the same time, also you can create your own custom skills, and then they're going to show up here in this list. Okay. If we scroll down, like right now, it didn't do any it didn't add any manuals, and perhaps because I describe it as you're the design exploration agent, it's mostly about exploration. But if I were to ask it like that, you're a designer that creates something, perhaps that would have triggered in a way to add manuals. But here you can override it in case that you're saying like, actually I need to have manual. You can always go in and pick in a way which is that kind of manual that you want to add there. Now you see here, like when it comes to tools, you start to attach certain tools like Clarify, Generator, Option Review, and Vision. And what Clarify is doing is that very often, especially when you work with multi-agents, which is pretty much that's what Versur is going to allow you to do. When you work with multi-agents, there is a very high risk that you're sending information downstream that is ambiguous, and then all the agents downstream, they are going to read that ambiguous kind of information, and they're just going to repeat like nonsense. Yeah, they're going to create like a lot of like noise without like something precise. Yeah. So then what you have here with Clarify is going to, it's a mode, it's a tool in the agent that in case that the agent sees that the request is not clear, is going to actually stop and ask for clarification before it continues. Yeah. So for example, if I were to attach this kind of Clarify to an agent and just type in create A, the agent is not going to continue, and it's going to stop and ask me like, what exactly do you want me to create? Do you want me to create a video, an image, a text, and then I'm going to say an image. And then it's going to say, well, what kind of image? Do you want to create a building? Do you want to create, so that's what Clarify is doing, is making sure that, information, it's being streamed correctly, and the intent, it's streamed correctly further down to the blocks. So we have all those. Like for now, I can keep them like that. You see, we also have the option to attach a loop if we want to attach a loop, and the loop will be almost like like I showed previous time. It's only looking at the first iteration, the first response, and then it's checking it against the stated goal, and then it's going to improve it against the stated goal and keep on improving it until it's hitting a certain value that you can specify. Yeah. All right. So. And then what else we have here? So here, like you'll see in a moment, like with Versur, it's super interesting to work with how do you stream in a way the data. And that's why like sometimes, if you look at Versur and some other kind of platforms that use this kind of node-based, a lot of platforms out there using node-based, they just give you like this option of, I'm going to connect from one block to the other. So I'm going to stream from one block to the other like this. And once you have the connection, already everything is being streamed. Yeah. So that's that works in case that you're using with finite kind of like tools and finite kind of methods that for sure that if I'm sending an image from here to the other block is reading just images, nothing else. Yeah. But when you work with agents that can be composed and you can create your own kind of workflows, a big topic is this kind of idea: how do I then split in a way and manage the data that an agent it's outputting, so like that I can correctly send that data to other kind of agents. And why I'm saying that is because, if you're asking an agent to generate something for you, like a text, it's going to generate the text, but at the same time, it's going to generate a lot of other kind of nodes and other kind of text that is not relevant to perhaps the scope of it. Yeah. And if you just send that further down, suddenly what you're doing, you're just piling you're adding a lot of noise. And the more agents you have, the more you pile up, in a way, that kind of noise that you're generating. So what you want to do is you want to be able then to, rather than having this, you see here, like by default, you have a content, which is pretty much going to be everything that this agent generates. So instead of having that, what you want to do is you want to be able to say, like, let's say I want to have an agent that is going to just output for me, let's say the reasoning. I want to have an agent that outputs that selection. And let's say prompt, yeah. So that's what I want to have, an agent that is only outputting those. So whatever is generating this agent, it has to then output for me only this information, okay? So in this way, then, when you hover here at the output handle, you see right now I have reasoning, selection, and prompt. So like this, then, if I were to connect this to 3 separate kind of agents, I can stream to one agent just the reasoning, to the other agent just a selection, the other agent I can stream only the prompt. Okay, so I can really manage in a way the data in this kind of way. So that's what you're looking at here when you see like output scheme, output structure. It's about like how do we structure the output of the agent so like that the output is actually usable. We can easily like just stream it to others. Okay, and then you have the last one is the part where you have human in the loop. So what this one does, this one, okay, so give me a second. So what this one is doing then, human in the loop. Human in the loop allows you then to if you trigger that, the agent will always have to ask for permission to continue. Okay. Okay, so let's see if I can. People are asking if I can zoom in a bit, so I'm going to. There we go. Is this better? Okay, so as you can see now, we have here like this entire form in a way allows us to configure the agent. And I can say, okay, this is going to be human in the loop. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to say save. And now I'm going to have this agent here called weekly build agent 1. Okay, so if I close this, you'll see what's going to happen is I can search here, or I can go here in the list, and I'm going to see this agent now showing up as weekly build agent 1. And when I drag it down here, you see it's right now like it's already configured. It has all the like tools, the skills, they're already embedded in it. And the only thing that I have to care about now here is the actual input, what I'm streaming into it, which is the task for the agent, which are the files perhaps that I'm giving to this agent. That's pretty much all that I have to provide there. Now, the beauty of this is also that once you have it this way, you can either like say, I'm going to publish this. So I can go in here and I just say, publish. So this is now going to be something shared in the hub. So if you go here in the hub, go to agents, you'll be able to see this weekly build agent, And now everyone from Versur community, if you have a Versur account, you're going to be able to use that or to download that specific agent, So if one of you like wants to click on it, you'll see like once you click on it, it's going to show up here in agents. You're going to see that downloaded kind of agent in there, Now another thing is that sometimes like some practices you don't want to just share the agents with everyone like in the hub. So instead of like sharing it like that as a published, what you can do is you can also go in here to the agent and just say shared link. And now that link I can share it, for example, here. If I go here in the chat in Discord. Let me just put it here. So you'll see every single one of you, if you click on that link now, you're going to be prompted with a window to accept in a way to use that agent, So in that way then, like in case that you have to share agents with friends or, with your team, you don't have to necessarily like share that publicly. You can just share the link with them and they click on that link, they log in into Versur, and they're going to see in a way the agent in their account as well, So you can build it in a way that kind of way. Okay, so that's pretty much like how you're building those kind of agents. Now, why would you need in a way to build your own kind of custom agents? So what's happening is that a lot of agents that we are working with, or at least the general kind of purpose kind of agents, they are too broad in a way, like to solve certain like specific tasks, And very often, like in architecture, we need in a way certain processes that are solved in a more deterministic manner, and other times more like a flexible, generative, let's say, manner. So having the right kind of intelligence for the right kind of task is quite important. So we have to be able to define like which is the level of specificity in a way like each agent should have to solve certain things, Because for example, if I have a Rhino model, I don't have to attach to a Rhino model like this kind of agents that have web search and so on, unless like I'm engaging certain processes that need that. So I can really like specialize the agent only to model in Rhino. Yeah, or I can specialize it to model in a specific way in Rhino, because even there, like it's a distinction between like I have an agent that attached to it a skill so that it knows now how to properly model in Rhino, but properly modeling in Rhino, it doesn't define in a way the style of how I'm modeling something. Yeah. So if I also want to bring in a way that kind of design element in it when it's designing something in Rhino, I should be able to do that. Yeah, to customize the agent. So here then, when we work with multi-agents, we can define like which is the level of intelligence in a way that each agent has. Now, if you go into your if you go here into the hub and go to weekly build, you can press this use this specific workflow, and this is the workflow where I'm going to show you in a way where how you have multiple kind of agents that you can work with. Yeah, multiple specialized kind of agents. Okay. So just click on that, and you should be able to have a canvas something like this. So let me check where I have mine. I believe this one. Yeah, I believe this one is the correct one. Okay, so what will happen is that once you do this, so this workflow already has specialized kind of agents that I define myself. And once you do this, if you go into your agent section here, you'll be able to see now all those agents showing up like this. Yeah. So were you able to log in, Ernesto? Were you able to log in your account and then click on it? Okay. Okay, so let me see if I can check on another computer just to see that issue. I mean, this is the fun part of building in public, but at the same time, like I'm not afraid in a way of showing in a way Versur in public. I know that there is a risk like we have here some small error or something, but we are building it together, so that's fine. So this is what I see. Okay, so let's see if I can go in here and I can show it on a different kind of account. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to try to look at it on this account. Okay, but you're not seeing this. Okay, I'm just going to check it then on my end, because right now you probably don't see what I'm sharing here. Give me just a moment. Okay, that's strange, because on my end, like I logged in with a different kind of account, and I'm able to open the workflow. I'm just pressing use, and I see the workflow showing up. Can you perhaps like Control Shift R, like your browser? Maybe there is some cached information there that it's conflicting. So on if I'm testing on a different kind of workflow, yeah, on a different kind of account, it's working. Okay. Okay, but once you have it, you're going to see something like this. Yeah, once you press use, that you're going to be able to see the workflow now in your workspace, And then when you go into the agents here, you're going to be able to see all those kind of agents showing up. Yeah, you're going to see them like that. Now, just to respect in a way like ownership and the rights of people that are going to develop with their agents and share them with everyone, you're going to also see at the bottom, as you can see here, you're going to have the author of that kind of agent. Yeah, so in that way, like there is like Versur is kind of trying to keep track in a way of this agent was created by this person initially, then was further like modified and further like improved by the other person, and so on. Yeah, so you're going to have that, but you have all these kind of agents now that, as you can see, in a way, the way I define them is that I'm just thinking like, okay, if I were to develop a sort of like design kind of process, which are the kind of specialist kind of agents that I might need for that process, and how do I set it up in a way that I don't have to do this every single time when I have to explore something. Yeah, so I have then like agents that deal just with strategy, like design strategy. How do you refine a brief? How do you perhaps identify different kind of open questions that are there? How do you evaluate something like a jury? Like, I'm going to ask it to generate something for me, but then can it look at all the options that it generated and then evaluate based on the initial kind of brief, or based on the initial request that I had? And then also I might have an agent that perhaps the exploration that I'm doing is not very speculative. So I need to bring some real world kind of constraints, like side constraints and so on. So can I have then an agent that is just looking at that? Yeah. So in some of the weekly builds from previous weeks, I showed you this kind of like feasibility study and zoning kind of agents that you just put in the address, and it's going to go in and find all the GIS kind of websites, and then from there it's going to extract the information that you need. If you want, you can also have it extract for you, like which are the maximum kind of envelope that you can have, which is the massing that you can have, all the kind of like numbers, yeah. And then from there you can have a workflow that is actually informed by real data. Okay, so this is also the idea here of the site. You can have that kind of agent, and then program. Yeah, like how do we understand the program there? So if I'm closing this, you should have a workflow that it's like this. Yeah, and you'll see here, like if you open it, you just have, in this case, okay, that one, it's why do I have this one this way? Give me a second. Probably I have the wrong one open. Yeah, in case that I have the wrong one open, what I can always do, I can go in and take exactly the one that I share with you, just to make sure that we are using on the same, we are working on the same. Okay, I see what's going on here. It seems that, no, this one is correct. So let's use it like that. There you go. Good. Okay. So what we can do is we can then just start to swap certain things, because right now, like, okay, perfect. Restarting worked. Yeah, so sometimes, maybe there is a cache kind of issue with the browser, and that's why like you have sometimes those kind of errors. Now here, what we have is we have all these kind of specialized kind of agents that we can run, and you'll see here that what you have is you have simply like a manual kind of input that we predefine, and then I'm just going to run it like this. So this is always like when I'm pretty much testing certain workflows, I like to have the inputs defined manually like this, and then I just execute the workflow, and then only when I deploy it, I switch to either kind of chat node, so like that, whoever uses this, it's going to be more flexible, or have a specific kind of input kind of structure and form that I have to follow. So if I'm running this, we can see now what this is going to do. So you see the auto, it's already on. So you have auto, like this is deciding by itself, like, okay, which model to use. And then from there, it's going to start in a way to find which are the open questions in the brief, which is the program, which is the site constraints, and so on. And then from there, it's going to devise a sort of strategy. So which is the program? It's a waterfront cultural pavilion, the summary of it, materials, and so on, the constraints. And then from there, it's going to start to go into the agent that does the strategy. So all that kind of is informed now. But you'll see here, like all days, they are outputting specific kind of formatted information. They're not just dumping in a way like everything that it has here. Because like I mentioned before, you don't want to have noise that you're sending in a way to agents. You want to have very clear structure kind of data. So that's what you see here. Each agent has its own kind of output. Now here you have also this kind of option where we had this kind of issue in weekly builds when we were doing this, that sometimes you're trying to access a model like a GPT model, or you want to access like text to image models, and suddenly the service for some reason it's down. So initially, what happened was that the workflow will just stop. Yeah, it will just give you an error. But here, what you see here right now on the screen is that right now it's trying to figure out like, okay, I tried to run this with a specific model. That model is not available at the moment. So what should I do? Should I continue? Should I like try with a different kind of model? So you can then switch and say, okay, retry with, and I'm just going to say, okay, allow it to retry now with a different kind of model. And from there, I can like keep on checking away until the service is available. So this is typically like, has nothing to do with Versur, has to do with a third party in a way that provides, let's say, the models in case that they're down. Then they have this kind of, you have this kind of mechanism in Versur not to stop the workflow, but to give you the option at least, to switch to a different model. Okay, so you see now that generated a couple of options, and now the next thing what's going to happen here is going to start to have like an evaluator. How do we evaluate now these outcomes? How do we judge them based on in a way like the inputs there? Then from there is we can go into like, let's refine this, and how do we refine it, and all those kind of mechanisms. Yeah. But all these, as you can see, these are specialized kind of agents that we configured. Right now, like when you look at them, they are still like just simple agents. But you can bring that, the specialized agents that we built in the agent section, we can drop those into the canvas, and now you're going to have them specialized. So what this one is doing pretty much is just saying, okay, we are going to have a refinement kind of loop where we have to look at perhaps an option that was picked from all the images that were generated, from the options they generated. And then, okay, which one is initially decided like which one is actually following the closest in a way, the brief. So he decided, okay, this one is following the closest. So now let's take that one and let's improve this, yeah, based on the brief. So this is what's happening right now here. You have this specific kind of inputs that were initially selected by the jury kind of agent, and now it's going to try in a way to improve in a way those, yeah, and keep creating kind of different kind of options. And at the end, you're going to have here the option of exiting the loop. So you have like this kind of option where you say, okay, how close in a way it is to the target, to the assigned kind of objective. And if it's, let's say, you're saying it has to be close a value of 8, let's say, and the first iteration is just value of 4, for example, what's going to happen is the loop is going to continue because the value was just 4. It has to reach at least 8 to be able to exit, the loop. So if it's reaching the next iteration, if it's able to reach like a value of 8, the way you evaluate, the results, then you're going to be able to exit the loop, yeah? So that's what's happening right now. That's why right now it's keep on looping, because that condition is not met yet. So the loop is going to continue, okay? So here you see it starts to improve. It starts to improve because initially it started with this kind of image that was, quite perhaps more modern, but perhaps the brief it's suggesting something that is more organic. So it's keep on improving it until it's getting in a way where the brief it's pointing to. We have also now also this kind of hard stop. So you see here right now I have maximum 4 iterations. So it's either like going to exit before those 4 iterations, or it's going to keep on trying for 4 iterations. And then once it's reaching 4 iterations, it's going to exit. Okay. But sometimes, like for certain tasks, like depending on how important the task is for me, I can put there like 10, 20, 100 iterations and keep on letting it loop until it's figuring things out. And then once it's figuring things out, it should be able to exit by itself, the loop. Okay. So you see, this is what's happening right now here. We have this kind of agent. This is one agent that is just refining the loop. Then we have here a simple kind of, I believe this is just a language model, just looking at the outcome and then deciding, okay, this was close or not. And then from there, continuing. Now, the beauty of something like this is that, as a designer, I don't see, and this is a discussion that we had also with the community, we could build like when we were building throughout the last weeks. Like for me, I don't see in a way the future that it's about like interfaces only, like human interfaces, because in the future we are going to have like so many kind of agents that we are going to interact with, and those agents, they don't need in a way like an interface. They just need in a way like ways how you call them and how you send information. And then for us in a way as architects, as designers, as creatives, what's important is, can we make sure that the agent is actually following in a way the sort of like methodology and sort of like idea structure of an idea that we are interested in. So can I design that as sort of like backbone of an exploration, and then have in a way an agent call that backbone and just run it in a way, without me having to necessarily engage with it. And this is what you have here. I'll show you just in a moment where you can switch now from a purely architectural kind of exploration, you switch to something else, like let's say object design or something. But the way that you're exploring, the way you are evaluating things, the way you are judging certain things, following the same kind of process. So then, you set up the logic and you can run it. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for this. Now you can always go in here, like in the console panel, and you're going to see in a way like more information about like the scoring nodes and so on, like what agent kind of thought, the reasoning behind it, and so on. So it's not so much like a sort of black box. You can really actually go in and see it. So you can also like go in here and look at the logs if you want to see the logs of how the agent runs. So right now you see here like there is an issue with something. We are going to look at that specific block in a second. But I can go here and I can see like all the explorations. I can see all the explorations. I can see all the steps in a way that the agent took. So I can really like interrogate why it did certain things and so on, which is quite nice actually. Okay. Yes. Is this Gio? By the way, is this Gio? Hi, Gio. How are you? Well, this is something that I was actually, I have it on my to-do list, like to have an agent that, you could ask like, this is the site that or the address in a way, and then it should be able by itself to go like on GIS, extract the information, but at the same time also a Google map or something. And if you want to extract in a way exactly the site context of that, you should be able to extract the site context. But that's something that it's on a to-do list. It's not necessarily right now implemented, but I think that will be interesting to look at, because I can then define a sort of design logic, and then the agent goes in and collects the correct information, and then it just starts to execute things. For me. So give me just a second to see, like, I know that I had a different, for some reason on this computer, I see something else than what I was seeing on the other computer. And let's see if I can figure out like why that is. I think this one, it was this one. Okay, these are all. Yeah, I was preparing a different thing for today, and for some reason I don't see the workflow here right now. Let's see if I can switch to the other computer. Yeah, to this computer, if I switch to this one, let me just increase a bit the screen. Because in the end, like what you do is like what I showed before is pretty much like you can compose in a way the agents on your canvas, but once you compose them on your canvas, the way that you see them here. So here, these are just composed on the canvas, as you can see. So you have access to all the fields, the modes, and all that. If you have them this way, you're not able to then share them with others. Yeah, you can share just the entire workflow, but you cannot have it like nicely modular or have it like as a library that you're building of agents. And you cannot access them like from here, like, you know, weekly build agent or so on, yeah. But once you define them, once you define them into your agent sections here, you can have them now like this, like you see them here, like already prepackaged kind of agents that you just drop into your canvas. Yeah, so that will be open questions. So you'll just drop them in, and then you're going to have them like that. They're already predefined. You probably already ran, you know, a couple of tests, you know, that, okay, this is working correctly. And now I have like this kind of unit that I can always like call in my workflows. Yeah. And the beauty of this is that, you know, once I have it this way, I can switch the kind of inputs that I want to have. Here, the input initially is this kind of site in Helsinki, but I can also like try to perhaps change that input. And let's say I'm going to use, yeah, let's try this furniture. Curious to see like how's that's going to generate. I haven't tried it, so I need to change here the actual prompt. So I'm going to look at furniture, chair furniture, and that's the ask, that's the prompt. So I'm going to replace that. And when I run this now, we should be able now to see, you know, like the same kind of agents, because they're kind of accomplishing the same kind of role. They have the same kind of role, but now they're applied to a furniture design. Yeah. And okay, are there some questions? What's the program? So here, like what exactly we mean by program when it comes to furniture. And then, you know, site, it is not going to have to do anything with the site. And then which is a strategy. And then from there is going to start to, you know, generate things. So all designs focus on the modular launch chair, tailored for small apartments and so on. Yeah. So you see right now we have agents that are very able to adapt now to that new task, yeah, that I gave it. And I'm curious to see now, like, you know, what kind of outcomes this one is going to generate. I haven't run it yet to see. But my expectation will be that, okay, you're keeping the same kind of design kind of backbone, the same kind of structure of the exploration, but you're just changing now, in a way, the content of it. This is very similar with auto, like some of you probably are still familiar or you still remember when I was talking about the auto mode that you can apply to a generator, for example, the generator block. And that auto mod also can decide in a way or define like, okay, what kind of models to use, what kind of modality to use. So suddenly, in a way, you have a sort of exploration backbone, but the kind of models and the kind of modality that you have can change depending on the kind of ask that you have. Yeah. So I'm just going to let this one run a bit. What time is it? We are 5 minutes away. Okay. So what I'm going to do next after this one is finishing, I would like to show you then this idea of a Versur bridge. And what the Versur bridge is, it allows you to really connect, or it's a sort of, let's say, a small application on your desktop that you can use to run inference on your computer. Yeah, meaning that you can download language models, you can download image models, and then run all those on your computer. And right now, like I tested with computers with 8 gigs or with 12 gigs graphic card, and they are working fine. But for sure, like the more VRAM you have, the better. Okay, so this one pretty much like completed right now. Like you see, like we have a different kind of exploration. The structure, it's exactly the same. And we didn't have to change anything in terms of like, prompting. We just described, the problem, and you should have the system able to adapt in a way to your new prompt, yeah? Rather than, because I see that, sometimes you have this kind of node-based kind of interfaces where you're configuring in a way each node, and you have to type in the node for each, you have to type in the prompt for each node. And then what's happening when I have to engage in a different kind of exploration? I have to go in and manually change now the prompt, yeah? While here, what you do is you have systems that are intelligent, that are able to adapt in a way to the input of the user, yeah? So we can switch then from an architectural domain, purely architectural domain, to something furniture, object design. You can even go into like, brand marketing and so on, yeah? So for me, that's the beauty of it. I can define the logic, and now that logic is actually smart. It's able to adapt from one block to the other. Okay, so let's see another one then. How do we connect the bridge to this kind of workflows? So as I was saying, the bridge it's an app that you can install on your computer, and once you install it, you can run language models and text-to-image models locally on your computer. This is very crucial for some practices, just because of this kind of issue of privacy and what's happening with our data. Like, because what's happening is every single time when you're sending, if you upload a contract, let's say, to GPT or Claude or all these kind of models, pretty much you're sending them that data. The model is going to have access to that data. So if that's something that concerns you, as a practice, then you can switch to local mode. So in that way, then you run everything just locally. Okay, so I'm going to show you like how we work with Versur Bridge. So Versur Bridge, you have to go here into the Versur environment. You need to have a Versur account actually to be able to work with Versur Bridge. And once you have the account, you go in here in Versur environment, and you go to connectors. And you see here connectors, you're going to have also the MCP connectors. So if you want to connect to, Rhino, Revit, Blender, and so on, you can create workflows that connect to that. And here I have Versur Bridge. So in my case, this is already connected. But if you don't have it, you'll be able to download the bridge from there. So once you press download, right now I'm on a Mac, so probably I cannot install it here. Probably for sure not. This is just for PC at this point. So you'll have this file that you can run in a way and install. Yeah. So on my computer, I have it like this. So let's see if I can find the Versur Bridge. This one. Actually, it's already open. For me, it's already open. There you go. Yeah, it's already open. In your case, if it's the first time in a way opening it, you'll have to run the installer. Not at this point. Like at this point, I don't have it running on the Mac, but I might spend some time at one point to develop also for Mac. So right now, like once you're going to run for the first time the installer, it's going to install for you all the like CUDA libraries and all the kind of installations that you need. Now, depending on the kind of permission that you have on your computer, sometimes it might require you to install by yourself Python, and it has to be, I believe, latest version of Python. And then you have to add, in a way, the path to the environment. Yeah. So it's going to give you, like, in case that you'll try to install it and it's going to give you some error, you're going to see there like, okay, what do I have to do to actually make this run? And then you just install Python and you run again the installer, and it's going to be able to install everything. And what's happening here is the beauty of it is that you can connect then this specific app now to your Versur account. Yeah. And the beauty of it is that you don't need to have like Versur open on the same computer to be able to run it. Yeah. So in my case, you see right now, I have Versur here on a Mac. So I have it here open on a Mac. And here, the bridge, it's on a PC. Yeah. So these are two separate computers. They're not even in the same network. Yeah. This is in my office. I'm here at my home. So you can then really like set up your Versur bridge on your workstation, and then you can access or you can run any kind of workflows from all over the world as long as you have internet connection. Yeah. Which is super cool then, you know. It's super cool. Okay, sorry. So what you're going to have to do is you'll have to go here. Right now mine it's linked, so I'll have to just say unlink, and then I'm going to say pair bridge. And you see here it's creating for me a code. So I just have to copy that code and paste it inside here. So 436. And I'm going to pair them. So you see right now it's connecting all the others, like connecting Blender, connecting all the MCPs that Versur bridge comes with. And once it's done, then we can check, you know, here, auto connect finished. Okay, so I should be able to see here. Oops. Probably I have to refresh it. So let's try again. 647. Not the other way around. 674. 884. Okay, so this one is connecting now. Okay, online. So let's see. I'm going to refresh it here just to make sure that the connection is being established. I should be able to see it now. For some reason, let's see what's going on. Do I have an issue with my network? Yeah, just a moment ago was connected there, and I should have. $406. Okay, so online. Here you're going to see now you're going to see your connections, your graphic cards that you're going to work with. Currently, like this is just working with one graphic card. In case that you have multiple, like I'll have to set it up so that I can run on multiple. But yeah, right now it's just working on a graphic card. And then here you're going to have the section where you can search for your models. Yeah. So you see here we have an entire kind of library. We know that, you know, some of you that are already like you've been working with AI for some time. We all miss sometimes the stable diffusion models. Yeah, we all miss them just because sometimes, you know, like some of the newest models, they are too hyper realistic. Sometimes you need something that's more conceptual, and you know, some of these models, they were quite good at that. But you see here, like what you have is you can just browse through, and you're going to search online library of models that you can download. And these are open source kind of models. And once you click on it, you're going to also have here like a sort of some details about the models. You see here right now it's saying that this is going to be too big for the GPU that I'm working with. So I can search in a way others that are good in a way for my GPU, that are going to fit in a way. And then once you have that, I'm just going to press here download. And we are going to see it in a way downloading now. Yeah. So this model is going to be now saved on my computer, and I'm going to be able to run in a way this. So Walter was asking if it's working on Mac parallels. It might be, yeah. If you have parallels for Mac, I think so, yeah. I think the condition is to have a Windows operating system, and if you do, then it should be okay. Now I haven't checked yet how it's compatible with different kind of graphic cards that Mac has, but I will be curious to see, like Walter, we can explore that. If that's really creating issues, if we have to push forward Versur Bridge to accommodate also Mac devices and so on. So I can do the same thing also for the language models while we are waiting for that to download. I can also search here for different kind of language models that I want to use. So you see here you have an entire list, but if you have a specific one that you're searching for, you can always type in and you're going to find that. So these are all kind of open source kind of models that you can use. So I just have to select which one I want to use, and then from there we can download it. So let's say I'm going to go with Queen 2.5. So I'm going to have these models now opening, yeah, and downloading there. Now, another thing that you have here in Versur Bridge, you have this, the apps, yeah. So what the apps are going to do is these are pretty much like the connections that you can establish. Now, this is a bit different in the sense of like the bridge allows you to connect like from different kind of devices. You don't have to be on the same device, yeah. So I'm not sure like how much this is going to help, but I can control my Rhino from my office by running a workflow from home, yeah. If I establish, this kind of connection. And sometimes, like, is that important? Probably not, but you have that kind of connection at the moment. Okay, so let me check here again. Is the connection established? Always with computers, they are going to, the best way to find bugs is to present. And that's how the saying goes. For some reason, I don't understand why I don't see right now that connection there. Let me see if I can see it on the other computer. So I can show you at least Versur Bridge, how you connect it. Okay, I'll have to probably look to see like if there's something like some web processes that are blocking it right now. But if you remember, like when I was showing you this, like it was already connected, and then I disconnected, and for some reason now it refuses to connect. It might be actually that I should close the bridge, open it again, and have a clean run of it. So let me do that. I'm just going to close it and run it again, because it might be that, like if you remember, I opened another one while one was open, and it might be that created a conflict now. So let me test this out. Okay. Link ready. Okay, so I think that's probably something happened there where I was trying to open that. So let's do it again. Okay. Yeah, probably I have some process, web process that is blocking. If that's the case, like no worries. I'm going to fix that issue. Yeah, but it's a pity because I wanted to show you like how you switch here, how you switch to different kind of local models that typically were showing up in here. Yeah, it is what it is now. But this is what we wanted to show you today. We wanted to show you like how you create your own agents, how you can create specialized agents that then you bring into workflows, how then you can share those agents with everyone, and how you have these kind of workflows that are kind of adaptable. Yeah, as you can see here. So we have all these agents. They're all custom. They're specialist kind of agents. And then from there, I wanted to show also today the bridge, how it's working, but seems like it's not meant to be. But that's fine. We are going to probably then address that next week. I can show you again a Versur bridge next week, and I can show you like how you bring all your local models then and how you run it. And the beauty there with the bridge is that, you know, pretty much what you can do is you can define the entire like runtime of Versur. You can switch it to be a local kind of model, because this is like Versur has also the brain, which is the cognitive kind of layer of your practice that you can bring in a way a lot of like project information, and then overnight in a way it's kind of consolidating kind of knowledge, and it's going through conflicts and so on. And then you have like a Versur agent, which is the builder of workflows, allows you to build kind of quite advanced, complex workflows. Then you have Versur Composer, which is inside blocks that you can ask it to create things for you. So all those then you can switch them to local models. Yeah, so you can have them hosted locally. So in that way, then pretty much you can have the entire kind of Versur running just on local. Yeah, so you see here you have also design agents. So these are like those predefined kind of agents that you have. Those also could be like set to local. The brain could be all the embeddings in a way, like when you're working with embeddings, all that can be then defined into a local kind of model. So this is something that, you know, also for myself, you know, as a designer, and a lot of the ideas from Versur actually they're coming from my own kind of experience as a designer, and you know everything I'm building, it's a designer or architect for architects, designers. This kind of idea of like many times we have to be able to explore, to generate a lot of options, variations, to actually you know have a grasp in a way, a certain like exploration that we are trying to work with. And very often, like if you just rely on cloud models, I think it tends to get quite expensive. But if you have an option then to have things running locally, you can really like engage in explorations of tens of thousands of options. And then from there, you start to create workflows of sorting, evaluating, and so on, yeah, which is more interesting, I'll say. But that's going to be something, like I said, we are going to do it then next time. I'm going to show you Versur Bridge. I'm going to figure out like what's happening, what connection is blocking actually. Might be that, you know, I should do what Ernesto did, like just close the browser, open it again. And perhaps that's where, you know, the issues right now. Maybe I have some cache kind of information that is blocking it. But we are going to do that then next time, yeah? Yes, I'm going to, so Walter was asking, are we going to cover run locally next? So I can focus then next time, we can focus on setting up entire Versur environment to run locally. And I'm going to show you then how we do that, yeah? Now, for sure, like you need to have like a device that is strong enough. I'll say, if you have at least 8 gigs of VRAM, you should be able to run it. Yeah. But the more you have, the better there, because you'll see also that when it comes to the speed and so on. On a Mac, I'm going to try to do my best to see if I can implement the bridge for Mac version. Okay. All right. Are there any questions? Yeah, I see here like a lot of discussion, but are there any questions before we wrap up? Is it clear, like, how we create specialized kind of agents, how we bring them into our like canvas? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. We are going to see each other then next time. So yeah, have fun with Versur. Keep on exploring. In case that you want to share with everyone like what you're building, what you're working on, or even like if you have agents that you find interesting that can be shared with everyone, like feel free to share those, to publish those, and we are going to be able to see we are going to be able to see that in here in the hub. And as I was mentioning, in a way, like you're always going to have this kind of history of who uses who used that and so on. So like that, as an author of this kind of methods, you're always going to have your credits there. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone, and then see you next time.